Hello, good afternoon. How's your day going? Okay.
Hi, teacher.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Okay, I hope you have a better attitude and you want to talk with me, that you want to participate, etc. guys. Okay, so let's start with the class. We're gonna continue with the same topic of yesterday. The only thing is that yesterday we were reading, and today we're gonna be working with the grammar of that unit. So yesterday we were talking about conspiracy theories. We were discussing a little bit about John F. Kennedy, Elvis Presley, and what was the other one?
Man in the moon.
The man in the moon.
Very good, excellent. Okay, now it says in here, read the summary and find and underline examples of the past simple and the past continuous and answer the questions. So we're gonna read this little paragraph we have in here, and I want you to identify the sentences in past tense and the ones that are in past continuous, okay? So Mariana, help me to read it, please.
In 1963, President Kennedy and his team were preparing for the next presidential campaign. In Dallas, he was riding through crowds in his car when a gunman shot him.
Okay, thank you, very good. Now, let's identify the words. I'm gonna underline them in blue, the ones that are in simple past. So tell me, which of these sentences is in simple past?
He was riding.
Was riding is past continuous, because remember the past tense of the verb to be is was or where?
Shot him. Sería?
Shot him, shot. Okay, now I'm gonna highlight with red the past continuous, and the past continuous is, for example, was writing that Carlos said. Do we have another sentence in past continuous?
We're preparing.
We're preparing, very good. And I think that's it, right? Okay, now let's go to the questions we have down here. And number one says, which tense is used to talk about the main events in a story? Which of these two tenses that are used in the paragraph is used to talk about the main event?
The past simple.
The past simple. Because let's say that here we're like, it's giving us like a little description of what happened that day, but at the end, the main idea of that paragraph is that he was shot. So a gunman shot him. That is like the main point, right? Very good. And then, which tense is used to talk about the to give background information in a story in this paragraph?
In Dallas.
No, but in past, I mean the verb tense. Is it past tense or past continuous? The one that
past
continuous.
past continuous, right? Very good. So the past continuous here is showing me the actions that were in progress when the other action happened. So what happened or what was going on when he was shot? Okay, he was preparing, or well, they were preparing. He was riding through crowds and then he was shot. A gunman shot him. So remember that it is very common to have the simple past and the past continuous in the same context, but one is going to be showing the events that were in progress, and the other one, the past simple, is going to tell you the action that happened and finished. Okay, now let's go and read here where it says, read the conclusion and answer the questions. Here we have another one. Let me erase it to scroll a little down, sorry. So I need, Leslie, help me to read it, please.
Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested for the crime. A report later agreed that Oswald had killed Kennedy, but also concluded that there had been a conspiracy by a number of unknown people.
Okay, thank you. So here it says, here we have some different tenses. We also have the simple past, agreed, and we have, what is this tense called? Had killed. Is this past tense? Is it past continuous? What tense is it?
Isn't it past perfect?
Past perfect, yeah. And the past perfect is, the structure of it is with had plus the past participle of the verb, right? Had killed Kennedy. And then I also have the past simple, and then I have here again the past perfect. Now let's go to the questions. And it says in the number 1, which of the underlined verbs is in the past simple? Which of the verbs underlined here are in past simple?
Can be conclude.
Concluded, very good. And I think we have another one. There are 2.
Agreed.
Agreed, very good. Now, question 2, which of the underlined verbs are in past perfect?
Had killed.
Had killed, very good. And
Had been.
had been, very good. And which tense describes the events that happened, that happened first?
Past perfect.
Okay, so let's go and read here where it says rules. It says underline the correct alternative to complete the rule. Use the past perfect to talk about actions that happened before the past time event we are talking about, or a very long time ago. Which of these 2 options is according to the definition of the past perfect? The first or the second? To talk about actions that happened before the past time event or a very long time ago?
No, sería before the past time event.
Before the past time event, yeah. Okay, so we are talking about an action that was finished before the time event. For example, here, Oswald had killed Kennedy, but also concluded, like this is the action, it's like the present perfect, you know, that is for an action that is starting in the past and kind of continuous. So here we're talking everything from the past, an action that started and was also concluded, but before another event. Okay, here we're gonna check, but before we check, it says, listen to the news summary and notice how was, where, and had are pronounced. And we're gonna listen and try to shadow read the text at the same time as a recording. But we're just gonna listen, okay? We're just gonna listen and try to identify all the tenses that are used. And it says in here that we're gonna, well, in the recording, we're gonna listen to the past continuous and also to the past perfect. So just identify it.
Unit 2, recording S2.7.
In 1963, President Kennedy and his team were preparing for the next presidential campaign. In Dallas, he was riding through crowds in his car when a gunman shot him. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested for the crime. A report later agreed that Oswald had killed Kennedy, but also concluded that there had been a conspiracy by a number of unknown people.
Okay, could you identify some of the words or some of the verbs?
Yes.
Can you give me an example?
Dijo there had been a conspiracy by a number of unknown people.
There had been a conspiracy. Very good. Okay, so let's separate it. We're gonna see it, like we're gonna go to the grammar chart. But before we go to the grammar chart, let's like separate them all to identify, because all of the tenses that we're seeing here, the past continuous, the simple past, and the past perfect, all of them are used to talk or to refer to actions that happen in the past. Let's say that the main difference could be among them, between them, is that the simple past is just to talk about actions that were finished, actions that happened and are concluded. The past continuous is to talk about actions that were in progress. So for example, if I say I'm watching TV, but I'm referring to the past, you know that that action was happening, right? So if I say I was watching TV, so then it means that I was doing that action before another thing happened, before another thing interrupted that action. And for interrupting actions, I use the past tense. Now, I use the past perfect to talk about something that happened before something else. The difference with the past continuous is that the past continuous is an action that was in progress, and the past perfect is to refer to an action that was finished before another action. Let's go to the chart, to the grammar chart. And here we have narrative tenses. And let's start with the simple past because we're gonna be working with the three different ones we saw before. Okay, use the simple past for states and actions in the past. We often specify the time when they happened. So when we use the simple past, we're being specific about the action that was concluded. And again, it was concluded, it was finished. For example, I left college in 1996. What does it mean? That I'm not going anymore. And it was like in a specific time, in this case, 1996, when I finished that action. He didn't know the way to Saul's house. He didn't know. What does it mean? That he probably, that he couldn't get to that place he was going because he didn't know the way to it. Now, the past continues. Carlos, help me to read it, please. When do we use the past continuous? Carlos, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Read it, please. Past continuous.
Past continuous. Oh, use the past continuous to talk about the background information for a story. Use the simple past to talk about the main events.
Very good. What does it mean? That mostly when I use the past continuous, then there's gonna be, I'm gonna be using the simple past too. Because the past continuous is to show the background information, is to show the actions that were in progress before the other action concluded or finished all those actions. For example, I was walking through the park when I heard a noise. So what is happening first? That I was walking through the park. What happened next, or what interrupted my action? I heard a noise. The sun was shining when someone knocked at the door. The birds were singing when I woke up. So you see, the past continuous is to talk about actions that were in progress, and then the past simple or the simple past interrupts those actions. As I was walking through the park, the sun was shining and the birds were singing. Suddenly, I heard a noise. So you're gonna be using the past continuous to talk about all of those actions that were happening in a time, right, in the past, obviously. But you're not gonna be using it to talk about a specific situation that was concluded, because the simple past is used to talk about actions that started and were finished. And the past continuous is to talk about like the process or the progress of all those actions. Often the past continuous action is interrupted by another action. In this case is when we're gonna use the simple past. For example, Grecia, help me to read the examples, please. I was taking.
I was taking a bath when their phone rang. Continúo.
Yes, please.
We can use conjunctions like as and while to talk about two actions that were happening at the same time. While I was reading the paper, I watched the woman boiling vegetables in the market.
Okay,
For
buying
more
vegetables. No, that is
information,
not enough.
okay.
The last one. Thank you. Okay, so as you can see in these two examples, we have two different actions, but one was happening before the other one. Here, first she was taking a bath when the telephone rang. It is common also to use when or while. While I was reading the paper, I watched the women buying vegetables in the market. So let's say that these two actions were happening kind of at the same time, but one was in progress and the other just happened. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. If you have a question or you're not understanding or you think that I'm speaking too fast, let me know, okay? Now let's go to the past perfect. And here it says, I had finished my homework for the affirmative. They hadn't had time for the negative. And for the interrogative, had they been there before? So as you can see, I'm gonna use have every single time in the past perfect. I'm not gonna modify that because you know that in the present perfect, for example, have is for I with they and has is for he, she, or need. But in this case, had is always, it is always gonna be had. Had in the past participle, had finished, hadn't in the negative one, or had not. And interrogative, well, we're gonna start with the auxiliary, in this case is had, subject plus past participle of the verb. Now it says in here, use the past perfect to make it clear that one action happened before the other action. What does this mean? Okay, you can say, but well, the past continuous is also used to talk about another action that was interrupted. Okay, yes, but the past perfect is used to talk about just another action that happened, not that was in progress. It's like the past simple, but I'm going to use it before the past simple. I don't know if you get it. Let's read these examples. I lost my wallet. I didn't have any money. So these are two actions that happen. It's like a cause and effect. I didn't have any money because I had lost my wallet. So the past perfect refers to an action that happened before another action, and both of the actions were concluded. When before or after is used in the sentence, it's already clear which action comes before the other. So we can use the simple past instead of the present or instead of the past perfect. For example, she had lived in London for 5 years before she moved to New York. And then what does it mean? That I can use the past simple instead of the past perfect sometimes. She lived in London for 5 years before she moved to New York. Let's say that the past perfect is similar, could be similar to the past simple. The difference is that it is more common to use the past perfect before the other action that, we're gonna use it first before the other one. We often use the past perfect with thinking, verbs like remember, realize, think, discover, find out. For example, when I got to the school, I realized I left my books at home. The way we contract the past perfect is apostrophe D, such as in the would. The difference is that with will we use infinitive, and in this case, the past perfect is the apostrophe D, but along with the past participle. So tell me, what do you think? Ready for the exercise? Okay.
Sí, pues le vamos a entender un poquito más practicándolo.
Okay. I'm gonna give you time for practicing then. It says complete the conversation with the words and phrases in the box. So here it says in the end, no, this is not, never mind, is this, sorry. It says underline the correct alternatives to complete the story. Okay, so this is the story and I want you to choose the correct alternatives, right? And then here says find and correct the mistakes. One sentence is correct. Okay, so what does this mean here? That I have 8 sentences and one is going to be correct. So then you have to modify 7. Okay, I'll give you time for you to work with this, guys, for evidence. So please underline here the correct alternative and correct the 7 mistakes in the sentences. Okay, I'll be here.
Vamos a
Okay.
hacer el A y el B.
Yeah, both.
Ok.
Fun fact, teacher.
What?
I got a pin the Kennedy like 5 years ago or 4 or 5 maybe
Where?
in USA.
Hmm? So you knew about this. Why didn't you tell us yesterday? We were reading about him.
Yes.
You were
Sí, mira,
not. You're showing it? Wait.
¿sí se ve?
Yeah.
Y sí se ve que es como de cuando andaban en la campaña porque sí se ve medio.
Who gave
medio
it to you?
vintage. Yep.
Who gave it to you?
I bought in the yard sale random in a house
Really?
with viejitos.
And how much was it?
I don't know, like 50 cents.
Oh, really? Oh, so you can sell it in a higher price.
Yes. Or maybe in 50 years
Yeah.
cuesta unos $1,000. Un millón. Just kidding.
Okay. Yeah, keep it. Keep it. Okay. Work with the exercises and then we're gonna share. Did you finish?
No.
No.
Okay, tell me when you're done, okay?
Okay.
How you're doing?
Ya casi, ya casi.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna start with this chart, and in case that you haven't finished, we can solve it together. So let's go to the first one. Let's go to the first part, to the one of the chart. So I want you, let's see, Samantha, read the number one, please. I'm gonna start and finish where the number one ends.
I remember when Marvin Gaye, no sé cómo se dice, died.
Died. Died is the answer. Very good. Sophia, number two, please.
Sofía tuvo que ayudarle a su abuelita con una cosa, dijo que iba a ser rápida.
Okay, so then you, Leslie.
Okay. Number two,
Yeah, please.
I had been to one of his concerts a few months before.
Very good. I had been. Excellent. Number three, Bernardo.
In fact, he hadn't played very well, and I was disappointed.
Very good.
Uh,
Oh, you haven't finished, right? Finish it, please.
I also remember when JFK was shot.
Shot. Was shot. He hadn't played very well. Very good. And number four, Karina, please.
I had lived with my parents in New York and
Okay. Does anybody have a different number four?
lived.
I was living. I was living with my parents in New York. And what else was happening at the same time? I what? We're talking about two actions that were in progress. So number five is studied or was studying.
¿Puede contestar quien sea o le pregunto?
Yeah, you tell me.
Okay. Was studying.
Was studying. These two actions were in progress when he was talking about this, right? Okay, next one. Next paragraph. Carlos, please. I remember.
I remember the cleaning lady came into the room and said to me, "Hey, President Lincoln was being shot."
Very good. Number seven, Mariana.
I me perdí. I replied, I know that. ¿Le sigo a todo? ¿Sí, verdad?
Till, yeah. Till number.
No.
Hasta punto, por favor.
Okay. No, she said. President Lincoln has been shot. So I said, what do you mean? And she said, oh no, I mean President, you know. What's his name? The one now. President Kennedy been shot.
Very good. Jaciel, number eight.
I was turning on the radio.
So then on the radio, this action is to finish. So
sería Turner.
it's turned. Es turn, ¿por qué? Porque está hablando de la acción pues que ya concluyó, right? I turned on the radio. Y ya no tenemos más, entonces ahí va, por eso el past simple. Tell me, how did you feel doing this paragraph? Did you have that much trouble or not really?
No, pues más o menos.
Okay, let's go then to the other one. Vamos a ver cómo les fue en este. So it says, find and correct the mistakes in one sentence is correct. Okay, number one, Samantha. Can you read it just as it is? ¿La puedes leer tal como está? And then we're gonna see if there's a mistake, please.
Okay. I was leaving the room when I had heard someone shooting.
Okay, here we have something that doesn't make sense. We can't use one tense in this sentence. Entonces, ¿cuál es el error? Can you tell me?
Creo que es I was living in the room.
No, I was leaving the room is good. ¿Cuál sería? Ajá, el had. Entonces, ¿cómo quedaría?
I was leaving the room when I heard, no sé cómo se pronuncia,
Heard.
someone shouting.
Very good. Uh-huh. Very good. Okay, number 2. Jaciel, help me to read it, please, just as it is, and then we're going to identify if there's a mistake.
I couldn't open the door because I left my keys at home.
Okay, so what do you think? Is it correct or?
Ay, no sé, estoy viendo.
Huh?
Estoy viendo apenas, no sé.
Okay, did someone correct it already, Mariana?
It's I couldn't open the door because I had left my keys at home.
Very good, muy bien, because I have left. Number 3. Number 3, Bernardo, please.
We drove through the tunnel when the car broke down.
Okay, so here we have 2 actions. We need to modify one. What is a mistake or what do we need to modify?